Hey, howdy and hello, folks. Welcome back into Tier 1 Ascension. Doing some fantasy knowledge dropping, or trying to think I do. So, we've got 4 early redraft sleepers. Let's get into it. I'm going to keep this one fast, keep this one dirty. First of all, shout out to Harper and Money for winning the grand prize winnings of our best ball tournament last year. We do 5 different drafts for best ball, kind of get a sense of redraft feel throughout the summer. We started about mid-June, go all the way through August, kind of see where people are rising, falling, kind of keep track of some of that fun stuff. We do it as a best ball tournament just because it's fun. We don't have to worry about it, and gives us a little more content over the summer. So, congrats to those guys. They ended up tying. I split that draft up into 2 videos for us. A little bit easier to digest, kind of see more of what the initial roster build is looking like, and then kind of your bench and kind of some overall team analysis after the draft is concluded there. But let's get into this here. First up on my list, probably not a surprise to anybody that's watched me last year. Cedric Tillman's first up on the list, the Cleveland Browns wide receiver. A lot of people have him as the wide receiver 2. I think he could be their wide receiver 1. Big debate with everybody but me that Jerry Jeudy's their 1. I think it's going to be Cedric Tillman. His current ADP is round 13, pick 6. Injuries are really what unhighlighted Cedric from becoming a sleeper last year. If you had him between week 7 and 12, week 12 is when he got injured. He got a concussion. He was a viable wide receiver 2 for you. He was averaging 15.4 points per game and was a red zone target for Jameis. From week 7 to week 12, he was getting the top share of targets. He was getting 24%. Jeudy had 21. Njoku had 18%. And again, that's while Jameis was at quarterback. It was Cedric's concussion that pretty much erased him from the rest of the season. Right now, to get a possible solid wide receiver 2 option in the 13th round, to me, is a steal, and I will still target him because of this QB situation. Minus Pickett, it's a more accurate quarterback that's not afraid to make throws to a guy that will come away with a great catch, whether he's in coverage or he's wide open. Tillman should still receive a lot of those red zone targets because nothing's really changed there. There's no new wide receiver competition that came in. Cedric is set to just reprise his role of what he was doing last year in the times that he was healthy. With it being redraft, taking a shot on a round 13 player to hopefully hit and work out to be, a mid wide receiver 2 for you. I'll roll the dice on that one. Going up next to Jordan Mason, current ADP, round 12, pick 7. To me, should be one of the highest sought RB handcuffs out there. I have shares of Aaron Jones, sure, but with Aaron Jones' age, history, injuries, Jordan Mason's performance when he was given the full reins between week 1 and week 4 last year, only Derrick Henry had more rushing yards than him during that time. He's not as predominant in the receiving game as Aaron Jones. Mason only finished with 1 reception per game. Week 4 was his biggest one with 3 receptions. So that's not really the solid part of his game, but he could be a great goal line back for them as well. Getting more of the actual carry workload throughout the season as well. So week 5, Mason gets injured. Ends up trying to play week 6 and 7. He's out week 8 and 9, and then came back to a limited role from week 10 on. Just with how the situation rolled out, they had Garindo, they had CMC come back, so they didn't really worry about putting Mason out there and injuring him anymore. So, an RB who can come from your bench to potentially be a top 5 player is always worth the stash. Getting him in the 12th round is a steal, and in best ball, I will draft probably both Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason just because I think they'll have a great role. And if Aaron Jones goes out for any reason, Jordan Mason's becomes that dominant wide or running back during that time. Like I said, keeping it quick, dirty. Let's go to DK Metcalf. Current ADP 608. He is a perennial wide receiver 1 threat who's always worth having as your wide receiver 2, or better yet, your wide receiver 3. Getting such a target hog, big play threat on an offense that's mostly full of short area targets in Freiermuth, Roman Wilson, Robert Woods, and all the running backs. I mean, Calvin Austin's really the only threat that they have deep that's going to contend with what targets DK is going to get on the deeper end. So Aaron Rodgers still likes the deep ball. 86% or 86 of his throws last year, 14.7% of his throws were all deep throws last year. He was able to complete 63% of his passes on all of his throws last year, so he's still fairly accurate. Geno finished as the highest rated long throw QB, so a throw over 20 yards per PFF for the years of 2022 until 2024. So that's in part to accurate throws and great deep threats. So DK, he also had Lockett in that. So getting a player who can possibly put up top 5 wide receiver numbers any week is definitely worth a grab as your second, better yet, third overall wide receiver on your squad in the 6th round. Moving on. I know, I had to do it. Put a DST in here as a sleeper. Gross, Tony. I get it. With what the Rams defense showed us in the playoffs last year, it shows that these young players that they have are going to be a disruption. They're going to be just turbulent for any of the Rams opponents this season. So watch out what they're going to do. They're going to be a disruptive force. They're going to cause some turnovers. And I think with them being currently ranked 15th, they could easily work their way up into a top 10, maybe even a top 8 defense for you for the year. All right. Well, like I said, short, easy, quick. I'm done. Laters.